You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5.
I saw him, but if he would have seen me, I wouldn't be here.
Stories emerging of victims hiding as a gunman opened fire in a Pittsburgh synagogue. The latest on vigils nationwide and here on the Suncoast.
Plus, more troops will be sent to the border as migrants continue their journey to the U.S.
And Election Day is a week from today. How much do you know about the 4 amendments? We'll break them down for you right now on Good Morning Suncoast. And good morning, early risers. Glad you're with us. It is Tuesday the 30th. I'm Ray Collins.
And I'm Jess Dowdrick. Halloween Eve. Let's head over to meteorologist John Scalzi to get a look at what our Halloween forecast will look like.
Well, it's going to look pretty good, I think. You will notice a little bit more humidity. Did you notice that as you walked out the door this morning? It's around, absolutely. Although we don't have anything in the way of cloud cover, we had fairly clear skies during the overnight and still do. No rain in the forecast, but we do have fog. In fact, in some places it has been kind of thick. Around Punta Gorda, we've had some visibilities being reported as low as a quarter mile. So thick in places, patchy. We're entering fog season now, so we'll be seeing this frequently, I think. Heavier fog up to the north of us. We'll look at temperatures that are running just about 10 degrees above where they were 24 hours ago, topping it out at a few degrees warmer this afternoon as well at about 83 under mostly sunny skies. We'll have your complete forecast in just a minute. Back to you.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you, Russ. Thank you, John. Thinking about our photographer. Let's go to the maps right now. Here's the scene first off in Manatee County. Not a lot of activity except on 15th Street East. You'll notice some problems there in the northbound lane. Farther south, we'll check the northern half of Sarasota County. Little blip there on 301 northbound as you head toward University Parkway. And then the reason I was thinking about our photographer is because we do have a crew heading toward a scene right now in southern Sarasota County. A major accident in Venice East Boulevard and Sunnyside Drive. Again, on Venice East Boulevard and Sunnyside Drive. FHP investigating a possible fatality involving the situation there. The road is closed in that area. We'll have an update as it happens right here on ABC 7. Happening today, President Trump and the First Lady will be in Pittsburgh to show their support for victims of Saturday's synagogue shooting. As ABC's Elizabeth Hagedorn tells us, the suspect appeared in court on Monday as families start to bury the victims.
Rabbi Jeffrey Myers can still hear the gunshots.
I'm hearing people screaming, and it's seared in my brain. I can't erase that tape.
Myers recounting the carnage as the gunman, who police have identified as 46-year-old Robert Bowers, stormed the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh.
Something just innately told me that's a semi-automatic weapon. I immediately announced to my congregation, drop to the floor, do not move, don't utter a sound, be still.
Expressionless and shackled to a wheelchair, Bowers appeared in federal court Monday. Federal prosecutors say they'll seek the death penalty against Bowers. Of major interest to investigators are the subject's social media posts, including those on a fringe site popular with white supremacists. There, authorities say he displayed a hatred of Jews and migrants.
I think this is another example of hate in our country that just doesn't go away. And I'm concerned because I think we're just going down the wrong path. Hate has to stop.
Today, the first funerals are being held. Among them, 2 brothers. Cecil and David Rosenthal will be laid to rest together. Also today, the President and the First Lady will be in Pittsburgh to meet with the families of the victims. As for Bowers, he remains in custody and will return for a preliminary hearing on Thursday. Elizabeth Hagedorn, ABC News, Washington.
Meantime, here on the Suncoast, thousands came out for a local vigil at the Sarasota Fairgrounds last night. Interest was so large in this, the Jewish Federation moved it to this outdoor location on Fruitville Road. A cross-section of the community was there, different faiths, different backgrounds all coming together to focus attention on Saturday's massacre. The main message, solidarity.
I think it's important for not only the Jewish community to come together, but the entire community to come together. It's time for us to heal, and this is going to take some time. I think tonight is the first step to do that.
When you come to these kinds of events, I feel very proud to be Jewish and very proud to be part of a community that will come together in mere days of horrible tragedy, but try to be positive and try to heal all together.
Candles were lit for each of the 11 lives lost on Saturday. Some in the crowd held up their cell phones in support as well.
ABC 7 talked with the Sarasota woman who was born and raised in Squirrel Hill, that neighborhood in Pittsburgh where the tragic shooting happened, and worshipped at the Tree of Life Synagogue. Ruth Lando described the area as a very tight-knit community where everyone accepted each other and felt safe. She says Saturday's shooting came as a shock.
My heart is broken because I feel as though my children have these wonderful, innocent, loving memories of their childhood in Squirrel Hill and their time at Tree of Life and with their friends and cousins. And there are no words to describe the horror of it.
She says she didn't know any of the people who were killed, but she does remember speaking with one of the 4 injured victims, last listed in critical condition. Right now, early voting is underway for both Manatee County and Sarasota County as well. We are now just 1 week away from the general election.
So you know about the candidates, but how much do you know about the actual amendments that, if approved, can bring some big changes to our society? Marla Spence joins us now with a breakdown of Amendment 1, which involves the homestead property tax exemption. Marla?
Hey, Jess and Ray, Amendment 1, whether voted yes or no, will impact property taxes locally. What it all comes down to is whether property owners want to give themselves a tax cut or would they rather give that money to local governments. Now, as of right now, Florida homeowners are exempt from taxes for the first $50,000 of value. If Amendment 1 passes, an additional $25,000 will be exempt from non-school property taxes, but that's only for homesteaded property greater than $100,000 and up to $125,000. So voters say yes to this amendment. It would be a huge tax cut for some homeowners, but it would hurt cities and counties that rely on tax money, possibly forcing them to cut services and raise taxes rates. Now, coming up, another look at another controversial amendment on the ballot, whether Floridians that are convicted of felonies should have the right to vote. That's coming up at 5:45. Jess and Ray.
Thank you, Marla. A developing story now. The Pentagon says it will send 5,000 troops to the border as a caravan of migrants inches toward the U.S. The move is part of Operation Faithful Patriot to help stop a group of Central American migrants on their way to try and enter this country. This is the largest quick deployment of active duty U.S. troops since the response to the 2010 earthquake in Haiti. The 5,000 troops will join the 2,000 National Guard members already in place. President Trump says this is an invasion of our country and our military is waiting for you.
Former President Jimmy Carter has called for GOP gubernatorial nominee Brian Kemp to resign as the Georgia Secretary of State. Former President Carter wrote a letter to Kemp asking him to step down and hand off oversight of the state's elections to someone else while he's running for governor. Kemp has received criticism for several elections-related issues this year, including accusations of suppressing the minority vote. His Democratic opponent, Stacey Abrams, was likewise called for him to resign ahead of the election next week.
Still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast, a controversial billboard from PETA. Why they say this is necessary.
And an update on the Lido Beach Renourishment Project, when it's expected to begin.
5:08 right now on this Tuesday morning. Let's check the tower cam. I'm sure John Scalzi can deduce all sorts of information off that live picture.
Well, we live in a pretty place, first of all. I think that's gorgeous, right? But you'll also notice a little bit more haze out there, a mist, we'll call it. We have a kind of a mixture of fog and mist out there. And so I've checked the fog box on the drive time forecast because visibilities in some places, especially further to the south, could be reduced to as little as a half mile. So watch out for that around Punta Gorda particularly. Mid-60s on your way to work. On the way home from work, we're looking at temperatures that will be near the 80-degree mark, and all airport hubs serving Sarasota Bradenton running on time according to the FAA. Your forecast after the break.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
Enjoy fine wine and great foods, all while supporting a great cause. It's the 17th annual Suncoast Food and Wine Fest, happening Saturday, November 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch. Taste hundreds of wines from around the world and sample great food from the area's finest restaurants. All proceeds go to local charities and Rotary projects. For tickets and information, visit suncoastfoodandwinefest.com.
Where to go and what to do in Birmingham, Alabama. Personalized just for you. Find your sweet spots at alabama.travel/sweetspot.
Me, pick me. Oh, come on, man. Oh, man, I love technology. Hey, yo, check out my new phone. Look at this right here. For years, the DeSoto Club has needed improvements. Join me and Boys and Girls Club of Manatee County as we raise money to build a brand new facility. It will be bigger and better, just like it was 40 years ago when I attended. Invest in kids, build great futures. All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So we're looking at a temperature coming in at 65 degrees. We have 100% relative humidity right now with the dew point value exactly the same. Northeast wind comes in at about 5. That extra humidity leading to that patchy ground fog that we have out there right now. Some of it thick, especially around the mouth of Charlotte Harbor, or thicker, I should say, not as thick as it could be. But still, visibility is reduced to a half mile, so just keep that in the back of your mind. We'll look at temperatures climbing to about 83, 84 degrees by around 3 p.m. I think we'll top it out at about 84 or 85 for a daytime high. And then we'll start to see the temperatures kind of taper off as we head into the evening and the sun begins to set. But they won't taper off quite as fast as they did yesterday when the dew points were a little bit lower. So we will see a more gradual decline in our temperatures, bottoming out into the 60s again tomorrow night. Across the United States, well, the eastern seaboard's pretty quiet right now, so that's good news. If you're traveling today, you won't have the problems that some of you may have had yesterday. It looks pretty quiet right now. Eastern seaboard seeing a big ridge of high pressure that has built in. We had a little frontal boundary. Well, I guess you call it a front. There was no cool air behind it, but it was a boundary, and it sunk southward yesterday. High pressure is built in back behind it, and it's left us with pretty quiet, tame conditions today. A lot of sunshine in your forecast for the afternoon. No rainfall whatsoever until we get toward the end of the work week. The futurecast shows a little bit of cloud cover associated with that stalled frontal boundary down to the south of us, basically in the Atlantic and in Gulf waters, not much over land. And maybe a few scattered showers down in the southern tip of the state, along the Florida Straits, possibly. But even that is a very small chance. We stay absolutely dry today. and that'll be the case probably for the next couple of days because of that. That is dry air aloft. This is our water vapor imagery, which shows you where the moisture is, where it is not, shows you the swirls and motions in our atmosphere. And this tan color that you see stretching all the way back to the plateaus of Mexico is dry air. And when you have that kind of dry air aloft, you really just can't get any kind of real shower activity established. Now, we'll start to see that erode away from north to south as the frontal boundary approaches. That frontal boundary will take this high pressure ridge and scoot it out into the Atlantic. Now, when that happens, we'll watch this kind of easterly wind flow, northeasterly wind flow, I should say, that we have today start to be twisted just a little bit. And as that high moves out into the Atlantic, we get this wind twisting to a more easterly direction. Eventually a southeasterly direction as that front nears, and at some point, even a southwesterly direction the day before the front actually makes it through here on Friday. So probably Thursday night, we start to see that southwesterly wind and our humidity really spike up there for a brief period. Sunny skies today, though, a little bit higher humidity, you'll notice that, and then some Friday rains. The good news is it looks absolutely like we'll have no problems whatsoever for Halloween. There's our hurricane, Oscar. It is continuing to strengthen. Again, it has no issues for the state of Florida. All computer models continue to suggest a motion up toward, well, really up toward Iceland. So it's not an issue for us whatsoever. I don't even think it'll be an issue for anybody, really. It just kind of sits out there in the open waters of the Atlantic. North wind at 10, switching to the northeast at 5 to 10, picking up a little bit tonight out of the east at about 15 in the forecast, calling for some pretty nice weather. Daytime highs for the next couple of days in the mid-80s. Halloween looks beautiful. Thursday, a slight chance of showers. Best chance on Friday, maybe lingering into Saturday morning. And don't forget, those clocks go back early Sunday morning at 2 a.m. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, John. Taking a look now at First Alert traffic. We begin in Manatee County, where there are no issues to report at this hour. Everything seems to be running smoothly throughout the county. So we'll head further south into northern Sarasota County. Heading down that way. There we go. Everything also looking smooth. Nothing to report at this hour. Very slight delay on US 41 at the intersection of US 301, but nothing major to report. And as we head even further south into southern Sarasota County, we are following a fatal accident, possibly a fatal accident this morning. It is a major accident on Venice East Boulevard and Sunnyside Drive. FHP units are there investigating. We're learning that Venice East Boulevard is closed. We do have a crew on the way to that scene, and we'll bring you the latest as it develops. Take a look at this. A billboard in South Carolina is causing quite the controversy. PETA has placed a billboard in the area prompting viewers to stop eating meat. The group says the billboard was created after millions of animals were killed in the floodwaters of Hurricane Florence. It says those who eat meat help prop up the industry responsible for the deaths of those animals. PETA outreach coordinator Dan Karen says the message is worth it if it inspires just one person to go vegan.
So we put these billboards up kind of all over the East Coast, everywhere that was really affected by Hurricane Florence, because we wanted people to make the connection that when we choose to eat a pork chop or a chicken sandwich, that we're supporting this industry that left millions of animals to drown, and a lot of people saw these pictures of these animals who were drowning. Or just locked in these sheds. And this is an industry that did that to them, that polluted the environment when the waste lagoons overflowed.
PETA plans to leave the billboard up for as long as possible in hopes of challenging more people to think before they eat.
Another singer is taking issue with President Trump using his music at rallies. Grammy Award winner Pharrell Williams had a lawyer send the White House a cease and desist letter about playing his song Happy at rallies. The president used the song the same day as the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting. The letter said there was nothing happy about the tragedy inflicted upon our country, and no permission was granted for your use of the song for this purpose. Now, the Rolling Stones had also told the president not to use one of their songs at rallies during his campaign back in 2016. You and I both covered a number of rallies of President Trump when he was on the campaign trail. It always surprised me when they played that song, You Can't Always Get What You Want, by the Rolling Stones.
I honestly cannot remember any songs that were played. I was so focused on what was happening that I couldn't tell you one song that was played.
It's a long, kind of slow song that didn't quite match the spirit, but every time I covered a rally, about 5 times, that song was played.
Still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast, Apple's media event will likely introduce new hardware, but there's a new software update debuting today as well. That story and more in today's Tech Bite.
And next half hour, daylight savings time is this weekend, so why are we still changing the clocks if the governor signed a bill to stop it? That story and more news on the way, 5:20 right now on Good Morning Suncoast.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Gatto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gatto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gatto location near you or visit Gatto.com.
Gatto's got it.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Your last chance for 2018 Honda Civics on sale is now. During our model year-end sale, try new Civics for just $169 a month. You made Civic the best-selling compact car in America. And now get Civic, a KBB.com's best buy of the year for less than the competition. New Civics just $169 a month. Your last chance for Civics, all on sale this week at your local Honda dealer.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
An Ohio woman has created a monstrous pumpkin for her front porch in the likeness of rapper Kanye West. Jeanette Paris unveils a pumpkin creation every year. This bad boy weighs a whopping 315 pounds. Where do you even get a pumpkin that large? She says the most difficult feature to make for this year's pumpkin was the gigantic red "Make Pumpkins Great Again" hat. Paris has been doing her pumpkin creations for the past 30 years, and as you can imagine, they usually get a lot of attention. It's made it the whole way to Sarasota.
I wouldn't guess that's him, but I guess the hat helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big day for Apple as it introduces new hardware and software.
Details in today's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, Apple's new hardware and software.
The company is expected to introduce new iPads and other devices today, but it's also debuting a new version of its operating system. It's expected to allow you to video chat with up to 32 of your friends using Apple's group FaceTime. Next, are headphones with or without wires better?
Well, a new study of sound quality says wireless headphones are okay, but it says that every wired set of phones actually performs better. It claims they offer lower levels of noise and better quality. And finally, Cristiano Ronaldo is the new king of Instagram.
The soccer star is now the most followed person on that social network with more than 144 million followers. That's slightly more than singer Selena Gomez, rounding out the top 3. On Instagram, Ariana Grande.
It must be the pet pig. Those are your Tech Bites.
Have a great day.
Tech Bites. Sponsored by Disabled American Veterans.
I am a veteran. I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet.
DAV helps veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran. When I got out, I felt like nowhere was safe.
So veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory was finding the help I needed. Thanks to DAV, now I feel like I'm human again.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
New Alka-Seltzer Plus Power Max Gels. Concentrated power, 25% smaller pill. Max your cold relief with Alka-Seltzer Plus.
From the first loving touch, Pampers diapers are the #1 choice of hospitals and have been for over 40 years. Pampers Swaddlers, the #1 choice of hospitals, nurses, and parents.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
At Boys and Girls Clubs, it's not just about trying new things.
Tanya, come here.
Learning the right steps.
2, 3, 4.
Or making contact. It's not just about exploring the future. It's about helping them build it. It's about making the connection. It's about proving every kid and teen who enters our doors has what it takes. Great futures start here.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator, there was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 70.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership, both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5:30.
More troops will be sent to the border as migrants continue their journey to the U.S.
Plus, why some parents in Venice are fighting to lower a speed limit there.
And a new tradition is coming to Lakewood Ranch, what residents can expect. Those stories and more right now on Good Morning Suncoast. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Jess Daldrick.
And I'm Ray Collins. We're also tracking a fatal crash in Venice this morning. Details on that in a second. But first, let's get to the forecast from First Alert meteorologist John Scalzi.
Thank you, Ray. We're looking at some pretty decent weather for us shaping up today. The only thing this morning is we have a little bit of patchy fog around. It's not that big a deal, but it does exist. We're getting into our fog season now. So visibilities in some places, especially around Punta Gorda, have been reduced to where, you exercise a little extra caution out there. We're looking at satellite view showing, well, it's cloud-free skies. And of course, the cloud-free skies, a little bit of extra humidity around has lowered visibility in some places to about a half a mile. And that's what we're looking at around the mouth of Charlotte Harbor. So allow yourself a little extra time if you're commuting to or from areas around Punta Gorda. Otherwise, we're looking at the heaviest of the fog located to our north, with temperatures running around 7 degrees above the what we saw yesterday, 24 hours ago. We'll also top it out a little warmer, coming in around 83. Your complete forecast coming up in a few.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you, John. Checking the roads right now. First off, here's the scene in Manatee County. Not too much to report so far there. Let's check farther south. Here's northern Sarasota County, still relatively quiet this morning. And we'll check our final map to the south, and that is where we have an issue. You'll see the icon right there. That is the scene at Venice East Boulevard and Sunnyside Drive, not too far from a Gulf Breeze Drive. You'll notice that now. Here's a live shot of the scene. A fatal accident this morning. Relatively quiet street there, Sunnyside Drive. This is the area near 41 between Jacaranda and Plantation Country Club, specifically on Venice East Boulevard and Sunnyside Drive. Fatal incident. We're seeing FHP there. Looks like another, perhaps a county deputy in the background, but no other evidence of that crash yet this morning. We are tracking this morning, and we'll find out more as it comes into our newsroom from the Florida Highway Patrol. 5,000 U.S. troops heading to the southern U.S. border to block a caravan of migrants heading north from Central America. As reporter Jim Rowbottom tells us, they may end up building tent cities to house those seeking asylum.
The troops are gearing up and will be at the border by the end of the week.
We will deploy over 5,200 soldiers to the southwest border. That's in addition to the 2,092 that are already employed from our National Guard Operation Guardian Support.
The nearest migrants, traveling by foot, are about 900 miles away. They're weeks away from arriving at the border, where many reportedly plan to seek asylum. The commander-in-chief has a message for them, with Trump tweeting, "Many gang members and some very bad people are mixed into the caravan heading to our southern border. Please go back. You will not be admitted into the United States unless you go through the legal process. This is an invasion of our country, and our military is waiting for you." Vice President Mike Pence echoing that sentiment.
Our message to people in the caravan is simple. Turn around. You will not be allowed to come into the United States of America illegally. We will not allow it.
Critics claim Trump is creating a crisis around the migrants for political gain, to stoke fears and gain votes for Republicans in the midterm elections just days away. And far from invading, the migrants would be following the law by claiming asylum if they reach the border. Meanwhile, the White House press secretary says his motives are pure.
The president's #1 job and #1 priority is to protect the safety and security of Americans, and he's going to do what he deems necessary in order to do that.
A defense official says the new operation is expected to run from November 5th through December 15th. I'm Jim Rowbottom reporting.
So among the 5,000 troops, there'll be medical units, military police units, and also strategic airlift capabilities.
The FBI says another suspicious package has been found, possibly sent by the serial mail bomb suspect. This comes the same day Cesar Sayoc, charged with sending explosive devices across the country, makes his first appearance in federal court. The FBI confirms a similar package was addressed to CNN's office in Atlanta, but found at the post office. The nationwide manhunt started when the first pipe bomb was found in the mailbox of Democratic philanthropist George Soros on October 22nd.
He's innocent until proven guilty, and nobody has proven him guilty of sending those devices in the mail. So I can't give you any further information.
Sayoc is expected to be transferred from Miami to the Southern District of New York, where many of those explosive devices ended up. It's also where he'll likely be prosecuted.
Back on the Suncoast now, an emergency plan to re-nourish Lido Key Beach will begin in a little over 2 weeks. The city of Sarasota says the contractor is scheduled to begin shipping in equipment and pipes to the project area sometime in the next week or two. The actual work will begin no later than the 15th of November. The sand will come from New Pass off Longboat Key. A larger project down the road will dredge sand from Big Pass near Siesta Key. The city of Sarasota will also again discuss upgrading the Lido Key Pavilion soon. In fact, next week, commissioners will then set a hearing date for December 4th to discuss the plans. Developers want to build a restaurant and enhance the pool area. Some neighbors oppose the plan, thinking it'll bring too much noise and traffic to that area on Lido Key Beach.
Floridians still need to set their clocks back 1 hour this Saturday, despite the governor signing a bill that would allow the entire state to remain in daylight saving time year-round. That decision ultimately falls on Congress, whose approval is needed to change federal law. Congress is not expected to vote anytime soon on the proposed change. The Florida legislature passed the Sunshine Protection Act earlier this year to keep daylight saving time permanent.
An update now on the Sarasota Police Department's efforts to collect old and unwanted prescription drugs. They say residents dropped off 44 pounds of pills on Saturday. Police will hand the collection over to the DEA for proper disposal. Now, you can drop off prescriptions at any time. Police have a permanent drop-off box in the lobby of their headquarters. They're open from 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. there.
Parents of students at a Venice private school are fighting to lower the nearby speed limit. This summer it was reduced to 35 miles per hour, but parents are still concerned because that lower speed limit only covers half a block and the rest of the street remains at 45 miles per hour. They say they don't understand why the speed limit so close to a school and in an area with so much traffic remains so high. However, others say that reducing the speed limit by 10 miles an hour and the installation of these school zone signs is already a huge step in the right direction.
With the growth right down Center Road of housing developments, it's great for Venice. It's a wonderful thing, but the traffic patterns have increased tremendously. So we'd love to see it reduced down to a 25 with a flashing beacon.
Because Venice Christian School is not a public school funded by the county, a school zone was not put in place there originally, but Sarasota County did pay for that recent change.
A new tradition is coming to Lakewood Ranch. This Thanksgiving weekend will be the first ever Lakewood Ranch Seafood and Music Festival. It'll happen on Main Street on the 24th and 25th. Local bands will perform and plenty of seafood will be available for purchase. Admission will be free.
More than 150 artists are expected this year's Downtown Venice Art Festival, including sculptors, painters, jewelers, and other creators. The free two-day event is happening this upcoming weekend. The artists are visiting from 30 different states and were hand-selected by an independent panel of judges. Prices will range from as little as $25 to as much as $30 grand.
Still ahead, we're profiling the amendments on the ballot to be deciding next week. This half hour, we'll talk about restoring felons' rights. How do you feel about that? We'll have an update live in the newsroom.
And now we're taking a live look at a developing story we've been following for you this morning. A major accident, now a confirmed fatality on Venice East Boulevard and Sunnyside Drive. FHP units, as you can see, are on the scene and they are investigating. We know that one person has died. We will continue to bring you information as it becomes available.
5:39 right now. Let's switch gears, talk about the weather today. Here's meteorologist John Scalzi.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit warmer today. Some folks may want to head out to the beach, maybe take a sunset walk. Temperatures will be a little bit warmer at the beach as well. Go over to 82 with sunny skies, higher humidity, and a UV index of about an 8. As far as the red tide status goes, marine citizen scientists out there making their observations do indicate Coquina now having intense amounts of red tide irritant in the air. Also, Holmes Beach coming in, as well as Siesta Key, Venice, and Minnesota with low amounts of the irritant in the air. Our winds should be out of the north, but they will be switching to the south and eventually to the west over the course of the next few days. We'll be talking about that when we come back in a second.
Enjoy fine wine and great foods, all while supporting a great cause. It's the 17th annual Suncoast Food and Wine Fest, happening Saturday, November 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch. Taste hundreds of wines from around the world and sample great food from the area's finest restaurants. All proceeds go to local charities and Rotary projects. For tickets and information, visit suncoastfoodandwinefest.com.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Everything all right?
Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery? Sure. We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
You now have the power to prioritize your Facebook feed and get local news and information from the team you trust. Go to the ABC7 Sarasota page on Facebook. Give us a like, then click following and choose See First. That's it. Customize even more by choosing notifications. Choose breaking news, posts, live videos, anything you want to see in real time. Take control of your newsfeed and stay connected to what's happening in your community with ABC7 on Facebook. It's rainy season on the Suncoast. Storms can pop up at a moment's notice. Sometimes it's just rain. Sometimes it's much worse. When there's the potential for severe weather, you need to know fast. Trust ABC7 First Alert Weather to get you the information you need right away. We focus on the storms that impact where you live, and we're committed to alerting you with important information as soon as we get it. When severe weather strikes, trust ABC7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you. Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So we are looking at an air temperature that's significantly warmer than it was 24 hours ago, coming in at 65 degrees. And the thing to note is that it's an exact match to our dew point value, 65. So when you have a temperature and dew point that are an absolute match, you get 100% relative humidity, and you really can't drop too much lower in temperature. In fact, you theoretically can't drop at all unless you lower the dew point, which doesn't look like we're going to do. We got some patchy fog out there this morning, so we've kind of bottomed out our temperature, I think. As we head through the morning hours, we'll start to raise the temperature with a little bit of sunshine around. We don't have much cloud cover, so the sunshine will work its magic and get us up to about 83 degrees by 3 p.m. I don't see any rainfall in the forecast for today. We stay sunny, we stay quiet, we stay a little bit more humid as well, as you'll notice that as we head into the afternoon. Then as we head into the evening hours, sun begins to fade and we'll start to lower our temperatures, but a little bit more slowly because we have more humidity in the air. The moisture in the air kind of grabs onto the heat, kind of retains the heat so it doesn't cool off quite as fast. Along the eastern seaboard, everything is quiet. If you're traveling today, should have no issues whatsoever. Atlanta, Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte, all the airport hubs servicing Sarasota, Bradenton look good. Even the northeast hubs look good today compared to yesterday. Back to the west, we do have some showers. You kind of trace those out back on the plains. That is a frontal boundary that is beginning to take shape that will eventually work some colder air down to the south. And we get a little teeny tiny taste of that as we head into the weekend. It's not going to be a significant cold front in terms of some huge cool off, but what we will notice is, again, like the last cool front, a round of showers followed by a cool down. So across the region, currently, Titan radar not picking up a drop of rain anywhere. In fact, the entire state's pretty quiet. The futurecast shows a few fair weather clouds, perhaps. Easy for me to say, but nothing in the way of any kind of major rainfall around. You may also notice kind of the direction of these futurecast radar echoes beginning to shift a little bit. That's because the area of high pressure that's responsible for our fair weather will also start to shift and winds will respond accordingly. This dry air indicated here by the tan colorizations is all over the state of Florida at mid and upper levels. That's going to eliminate the chance of any kind of rainfall. High pressure scoots into the Atlantic. We start to see a twist in our winds to a more easterly direction. Humidity starts to spike, and then we wait for Friday when a frontal boundary will approach, setting up a line of showers that'll eventually move through here with its chance of rainfall. So we look for sunny skies today, higher humidity, that's noticeable, and then those Friday rains coming our way. Forecast looks like this for today. North wind at 10 knots, becoming northeast at 5 to 10, maybe picking up in speed just a little bit. And over the next several days, mild tomorrow. Halloween looks great. See no issues whatsoever with trick-or-treaters at night, except the sky may be a little dark. We'll have a moon, a half moon, but it won't come up until probably after trick-or-treating is done. And then Friday, that rain chance followed by clearing skies on Saturday and slightly cooler temperatures. Don't forget, Sunday, 2 a.m. when you go to bed Saturday night, actually, assuming you go to bed before 2 a.m., turn those clocks back.
All right, thank you, John. Taking a look now at first alert traffic. We begin in Manatee County, where we're seeing some slowdowns on US 301 as you're heading northbound and approaching the intersection of State Road 70. Other than that, nothing major to report in Manatee County. So we head further south into Sarasota County. Again, some slight delays on US 301 near the Fruitville Road intersection in both directions. Nothing major, though, happening there. And in southern Sarasota County, we are following a fatal accident in Venice. Let's take a look at that. That has happened on Venice East Boulevard near the Woodrose Way intersection. We have confirmed at least one person has died due to that accident. Now we're taking a live look there. You can see FHP is on the scene. It is still a very active scene. Venice East Boulevard, all lanes are blocked near the Woodrose Way intersection, according to a press release that we did just receive from the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. We have a crew obviously there on the scene, and we'll continue to follow the story as it develops this morning. In just 1 week, Election Day will be here. Some of the amendments on the ballot may be a little tricky, so we're here to help break down a few of them. Amendment 4 is one that will be on the ballot. It's been stirring up a bit of controversy.
Yeah, this one is relatively clear-cut. In essence, should convicted felons who serve their time get the right to vote after they are out? Marla Spence has a close look at this one. Marla.
Yeah, Ray and Jess, if voted yes, Amendment 4 will restore voting rights to Floridians who were convicted of felonies. Now, this will only apply to those who have completed their sentences, paid restitution, and fulfilled parole and probation requirements. Now, murderers and sex offenders, though, would be excluded from this amendment and the right to vote. Backers of the amendment estimate that about 1.4 million Floridians would have their voting rights restored if the required 60% of voters approved it. Supporters feel people should get their rights back as soon as their debt to society has been paid.
What you have in Florida is a rapidly expanding population of people who have no voice in their government. And if this amendment were to pass, be approved by Florida voters, the vast majority of people who are completing their sentences would routinely regain their voting eligibility.
And coming up, we are breaking down Amendment 13. Should dog racing come to an end in the state of Florida? We're going to be telling you coming up at 6 o'clock. Jess?
All right, thank you, Marla. Researchers have found for years that most younger voters are overwhelmingly Democrat, but one well-known Bay Area former college professor says it's not that one-sided. Dr. Susan McManus says many young Republicans tend to stay quiet about their political preferences. She says the same trend is true of adults, as we saw by the incorrect polling done from the last presidential election. McManus says the reality among college students is a lot closer to 50-50.
It's just that young Republicans are not as vociferous. They're a bit intimidated. If they say something, they're going to be badgered and so forth, so they just keep quiet.
In Sarasota County, only 10% of voters are under the age of 30, and turnout so far in Sarasota County is nearly 27%. Election Supervisor Ron Turner predicts at least 60% of voters will turn out when the polls close next Tuesday night.
It is 5:50 right now. There's a live shot of downtown Sarasota. We're going to come back and update our top 3 headlines, which includes a fatal accident this morning in the city of Venice. Stay with us.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Gettle Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gettle dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gettle location near you or visit Gettle.com.
Gettle's got it.
Planning a Carnival Fantasy Cruise out of Mobile? Then check out the park and cruise packages at the luxurious Battle House and Renaissance Riverview Plaza hotels. Stay at the Battle House for $169 per night or the Riverview Plaza for just $149 per night and leave your car for the duration of your cruise. Includes transportation to and from the cruise terminal. If you're cruising out of Mobile, come stay with us. Call 1-800-MARRIOTT or visit Marriott.com now.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. You're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Go, okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny'd been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
The ABC7 First Alert weather app just got even better. It's easy to use once you download it. First, tell the app to follow you, so you get alerts pinpointed to exactly where you are. Then customize your settings with all the places you go, from the beach to grandmother's house. Get accurate alerts for everyone you care about. You can even pick which weather alerts and categories you want and what they sound like. More ways to customize and more ways to keep your family safe. Download the ABC7 First Alert weather app today.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career.
Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
Here are some of the top stories we're following for you on the Suncoast today.
We're tracking that fatal crash in Venice. Here's a live shot of the scene at Venice East Boulevard, and now we're told it's actually at the Woodrose Way. This is all not too far from US 41 between Jacaranda and the Plantation Country Club entrance there on Wexford Boulevard. But that's the scene. What's unusual there is we don't see any cars involved in an accident, much less a fatal accident. So we'll continue to track this morning on Good Morning Suncoast.
Plus, the Suncoast community gathers to remember those gunned down in a Pittsburgh synagogue. Hundreds showed up at the Sarasota Fairgrounds of all different faiths and political backgrounds to honor those 11 victims.
And an emergency beach or nourishment program should begin in 2 weeks. The sand will come from New Pass. Let's get the final forecast now this hour from John Scalzi.
So we'll look at a couple of things on your board today. First of all, sunny skies today, but you'll notice an increase in humidity, and we wait for those Friday rain showers, which we'll detail for you in just a moment. Back to you.
Okay, much more next hour about that situation in Venice. Looks like a very peaceful side street there. Hard to believe there was a fatal crash. FHP confirmed somebody was killed this morning. Details of that accident and much more news, including President Trump going to Pittsburgh today to help that community mourn. Good Morning Suncoast continues after this.